The Coen Brothers are simply some of the greatest filmmakers of all time. You got an amazing directorial debut with Blood Simple. You got the Oscar-winning films from Fargo to No Country for Old Men. And then you have their wacky comedies such as Raising Arizona or Barton Fink. They're simply amazing. And one of their more underrated films is the 1990 gem Miller's Crossing. This is a Criterion Spine Number 112, and it stars Gabriel Byrne as Tom Reagan, a gangster of sorts, an enforcer gangster, the right-hand man to the Irish mafia lead, played by Albert Finney. Miller's Crossing is the Coens' ode to the golden age of Hollywood, meaning the gangster films. That's right. Scarface, Little Caesar, The Roaring Twenties, Angels with Dirty Faces, those type of films, and modernizing them. Also combining their love with Dashiell Hammett and hardboiled fiction. Tom Reagan is a Continental Op type character. If you don't know who the Continental Op is, it is Dashiell Hammett's original detective. He's in several short stories and in the book Red Harvest. And Red Harvest is a great inspiration to the Coens in general, but specifically Miller's Crossing. And if you want to go to influence more, Red Harvest is a huge influence on Akira Kurosawa, especially in Yojimbo, where the Continental Op is this figure of authority, of strength, and he's coming into a city of poison, Poisonville, and fixing it up. Yojimbo is a guy, a samurai who comes and he is smarter than everybody and he puts everyone together and he helps people. Now, Tom Reagan isn't a good guy. He's a gangster. And Miller's Crossing isn't about, good versus evil, black and white. It is shades of gray and black. Everybody in this film is a criminal. Everyone in this film is not really redeemable. And not everyone deserves to die, but they do end up getting killed anyway. The main conflict of the film is Tom is consulting his crime boss, who is infatuated with this woman named Verna, who is actually infatuated with Tom, but Tom will not reciprocate on the emotions, just kind of keeping it on the side. And Verna has this brother played by John Turturro, who is amazing, and his name is Bernie. And Bernie is really pissing off the Italian boss, Casper, who is making fixed bets, and Bernie is kind of ruining the fixed bets and letting everybody know Casper wants something done. Well, the boss isn't going to do it because he's in love with Bernie's sister. So what are you going to do? He casts out, his right-hand man, and he loses a war on crime, essentially, against Casper. And I don't want to go into the whole details on this. It's more of a recommendation that you should pick this up. Gabriel Byrne plays an amazing Tom Reagan. Like I said, he is a Yojimbo type character. He is the smartest man in the room. He may not be the toughest man in the room, but he is definitely the smartest. And what he's doing, he's playing chess against everybody. Everyone else is playing checkers. And he really is devoted to his boss. Like, for some reason, he really wants his boss to win the war and become the crime lord, with or without him. See, Tom is like the key to the success to the city. Everyone respects him. Everyone wants him on the side. Even Casper. Casper will even listen to Tom because he thinks he's an impartial third party and kill his own men. I would say Casper is probably the darkest character in the film. We see him openly murder, and he tells his people, hey, always put 2 in the brain. While the Irish boss is bad, but he has a really cool, badass action hero moment where he gets attacked at his own house by 2 men, and he guns everyone down with Tommy guns, and it is a pretty good highlight of the film. Again, this is a film about shades of black. Bernie, who is under everyone's skin, who is obnoxious, who may be a bad guy, but he doesn't deserve to die. Tom himself doesn't want to hurt Bernie because he also loves Verna. So everyone loves Verna, and no one really wants to kill Bernie, but Bernie's in everyone's business. Bernie's ruined everybody's business. What do you gotta do? While the first two films in the Coen Brothers filmography, Blood Simple and Raising Arizona, shows the Coens and their emerging talents, this is the Coens showing their absolutely reserve. They do have the cinematic set pieces that are in Blood Simple, i.e., like the 20 minutes of silence where Ray is with his boss. This has that over the whole film. They are showing set pieces after set piece after set pieces in this stylized, high-end 1920s, roaring 20s America, where, again, these gangsters can be real gangsters. This is Al Capone's type of stuff here. These people aren't talking normal like you and me. They're talking jive, and they're quick-witted, and everyone's talking fast like a 1930s screwball comedy. This film is just playing on another level that most films nowadays cannot even compare. Gabriel Byrne, I don't know if I've ever seen him in a film before or after, but this film he is phenomenal. His performance as Tom Reagan is so reserved, right? He is the smartest man in the room, but he doesn't let anybody see his cards. But then they also not make him perfect. He's a degenerate gambler. He's constantly betting and in the pocket of everybody. But even the main shark, the main bookie, doesn't even want to beat him up because they like him so much. He's everybody's friend, but nobody's friend. If you get what I'm saying. The only friend that Gabriel Byrne wants to be friends with is the boss. For some reason, he has some devotion to the boss, and I can't tell you why. Loyalty, they say these gangster films, watch The Godfather, loyalty is everything. But this is just a phenomenal film. It's, I believe, the last film they worked with Bernie Seinfeld before he went to make Addams Family. Yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. The visuals of the film. So colorful, so rich. Albert Finney gives this phenomenal performance as the crime boss, where he is this aging gangster, and the up-and-coming, he's not really up-and-coming, but Casper, who is the more ruthless gangster, still can't get to him. He can get to the whole city, he can take it over. He can get to the mayor, he can get to the police commissioner, but he can't get to Albert Finney. It's pretty amazing. He does a phenomenal job. And again, this is a noir film. And if you've ever seen my top 10 or top essential noirs in the Criterion Collection, my opinions on noirs is that there are an emotional core to them. And that is Vern. Vern is the emotional core because she affects both Tom and the boss and her brother. And those are like the three cores of the film, and how essentially all three of these men love her. Her brother takes her for granted, even makes fun of her. But Tom, who says he'll throw Vern away without a question, really can't. He doesn't want to hurt her. She loves her. But he can never be with her because he's loyal to the boss. And that's where his internal conflict comes in. Especially when he is tasked to taking out Bernie and he doesn't. And that really screws him up in the long run in the film. And I don't know who did the music to this film. I wish I knew it off the top of my head, but it is amazing. As you can see, I'm an Irish American, so I really love the Irish music in the film. And I'm kind of, this is almost the only Irish gangster film around. There's a few other, obviously The Irishman, but there's not really a lot of Irish films. So thank you, Coen Brothers, for making an Irish gangster film for a guy like me. More redheads next time, though. What can you get with special features here? You have a conversation here with Megan Abbott with the Coen Brothers on film noir and hardboiled fiction. You have new interviews with Gabriel Byrne and John Turturro, and another interview with Abbott. So I highly recommend this film. I haven't spoiled everything, but if you're going to get it, I would recommend the Criterion edition. This cover is gorgeous. I think there's a standard Blu-ray copy out there, but I never messed with that. At the time, it was kind of hard to get, so when I saw this was announced, it was an instant comp for me. The Coen Brothers have just grown since here. This is not my favorite film by them, but definitely in my top 5, maybe maybe 10. I have one quick funny thing I like to say about this film. I love the trees, right? When you have the opening shot and the camera is like up looking at the trees, looking up at Miller's Crossing, and then when, this scene in particular, the trees are just so gorgeous. I just love the trees in the film. I also want to talk about all the side characters in it. They know how to choose the side characters, from Casper to the Dane to John Turturro, who is a staple in their filmography, to Albert Finney, to what's his name again? Steve Buscemi. To Steve Buscemi, who at the time wasn't super famous but has a pretty good role in the film. This film also has something very interesting with sexuality because several of the characters are gay. Most notably, the Dane, who is Casper's right-hand man, but they never use the word, gay. And it's, really fascinating because, he's a super masculine character. You wouldn't want to mess with the Dane. And he is obviously in a relationship with Steve Buscemi, who is cheating on him with John Turturro. So there's all that. Yeah, I just always found that interesting with the film. Also with the Italian and Irish dynamic, you see how the organizations are run and how they slightly different, and how each of the crime bosses communicates with the heads of state, the mayor and the commissioner. Very fascinating things. The world the Coens craft in here is something out of a comic book, which if you know me, that's a compliment. If I can say, oh, it's out of a comic book, that's like a 10 out of 10 statement. This is a phenomenal film. You should pick it up. It's November. I would get it in the Criterion Collection if I were you. Best time to get it. It would be $20 now. I personally like finding things at the Barnes & Noble instead of buying it off Amazon. But hey, if that's all you can do is buy it off Amazon, I'll do it. This gets a 10 out of 10 recommendation. Yeah, but this film is a phenomenal film. You should get it, you should buy it, and you should add it to your Criterion Collection. That's the video, guys. I had a lot of fun making it. I love the Coen Brothers. I have a few more Coen-centric videos coming up, maybe on Fargo and The Big Lebowski. And I would love to talk about Raising Arizona, so the cap of all three of the early films. But what are your favorite Coen Brothers films? They have so many good films. If this was your favorite, I wouldn't blame you. But mine's maybe No Country. Mine could be Fargo. It depends on the day. But yeah, everyone, I'm Jack from Manelli's Studio Entertainment saying, watch your movies.